Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I wanted to talk about architecture of thought, ways of thinking. We never really think about thinking. Thinking is a very subtle art. Not many of us are equipped with the tools to think about problems in different ways. Even when we attempt to solve problems, we often do so in a manner that relies on accidental recovery. A solution that appears intuitive or instinctual is what we tend to seek. But we can train ourselves to think differently because this instinct that we are relying upon, this intuitive solution that we are relying upon, is dependent also in the way of life that you are living. And if we assume that this is the solution to our problem, we may be right for a time being, but in the larger perspective, if we look at the bigger picture, we might be wrong about a lot of things. For example, we see that progress is happening in this world, and this progress is continuous, and we are never really stopping to think. And the problems that we are solving are also based on this instinctual or intuitive solution that appears, and we really don't know how we are connected to our instincts. So it is important to think about instincts and thinking and the architecture of thought. And so we can train ourselves to think differently. For example, we can train ourselves to think slowly and deeply about a problem. Just by reading the phrase slowly and deeply, something have already shifted in you. You might now be thinking more slowly and more deeply. In an imaginative manner, you may even find yourself slowing down your words or whispering. It may seem like a silly act, but it actually works. The slower you think, the deeper you go. Here's an exercise. Write an essay on paper with a ballpoint pen or type it on a keyboard. Which one do you think will be more thoughtful? The slower one, of course. Your handwritten words will likely be deeper and more meaningful to both you, the writer, and to the reader, than an email typed quickly. This is precisely what I want to talk about here. The different modes of thinking. We have we have a lot more modes of thinking, and these have more to do with imagination than with logical or intellectual capacity. You have probably heard the phrase big picture used in expressions like let's look at the bigger picture here, or let's get an eagle's eye view of this problem or system. That phrase moves your mind into a different frame. You begin to zoom out and see the whole issue. That is a type of thinking. There are many such types. Another example is the phrase thinking outside the box. If you literally imagine stepping outside the entire problem, there's a chance you might come up with a new solution. Catching the train of thought is another metaphor that helps grasp meaning by literally imagining a train of thought and yourself climbing onto it. Slow thinking and fast intuitive thinking are other examples, especially used when dealing with statistics or data interpretation. You can also think in colors. Think of something as blue. Thinking of something as green will drastically change the tone of your thoughts. Thinking in pinkish tones is different from thinking in dark, stern tones. Have you have you ever tried thinking vertically instead of horizontally? That shift might change your entire perspective. You may call these childish ways of thinking. So, so what is the adult way of thinking? Is it more abstract, thinking in relative terms, thinking in discrete terms, thinking in moral terms, perhaps, or perhaps philosophical thinking? This is the architecture of your thought, and it all depends on the abstraction of your imagination. Adapting to different cultures and traditions also means adapting to their ways of thinking. Get it? In this way, one can learn almost anything simply by building a close, intimate relationship with the kind of words people use and the architecture of their thought. Architecture, architectural imagination. Let us look at this this term, architectural imagination, through a story. There was once an architect who had to draft a rough blueprint for a new commercial mall. The mall was supposed to contain all the top retail brands, a large supermarket, a central fountain, multiple floors, and a kids' fun zone, all on a 10-acre plot. He wanted to be creative, too, so he ditched the usual regular rectangular design and decided to try something new. He imagined the mall in a circular shape with the fountain rising from the center all the way to the top and even visible from the outside parking lot. The entire structure was to be enclosed in glass panes, transparent and perhaps glowing at night like a giant globe with a grand fountain in the middle. Each floor would be built around the circumference of this globe, and the kids' zone would be on the top floor. He sketched the blueprint and submitted it to the investors. They said, "It's a good idea, but how will you execute it? How will you procure the glass, bent in such arcing ways? How will the structure stand?" The architect replied, casually singing words. That's exactly what we do. We imagine things and build them according to the words. Words are the building blocks. Imagination is the architecture. The idea, without words, it's hard to become practical. It's hard to relate to each other. In this way, we can also deconstruct anything we don't understand. What we don't understand often means either we cannot imagine what the author is trying to say, or we simply don't know the words. Just trying to imagine what the author is imagining through their building blocks of words can lead us to understanding. Get it? Because the word understand comes from the Old English understanden, which literally means to stand under, implying a kind of imaginative obedience. Now let us look at what a recycled thought is. Think of what a recycled thought will be like: reframed, reusable, or perhaps more affordable. A recycled thought could be something old, an ancient text or idea brought back to life. A recycled thought can be renewed by telling it through a fresh retelling of an old idea. Thoughts are often recycled by scholars to preserve tradition and keep it alive. There is a concept in Tibetan Buddhism called mind treasure, gongtren, which refers to the idea that a person can accidentally access treasures left behind by enlightened sages, hidden in the deep realms of meditative states. These treasures then reveal secrets or practices that can help one enhance themselves and achieve liberation, or even the rainbow body, which is the goal of Tibetan Buddhism. In a way, we are all accessing different mind treasures left behind by others all the time. As you grow and mature, it's as though you begin to receive teachings from this newfound maturity. In Arabic, there's a word called nuzul, which means descending. When a person becomes wise or mature, we say wisdom is descending upon him. Imagine wisdom literally descending upon you. Imagine all your thoughts coming from some kind of heavenly abode. This is just another way of thinking, a framework specially devised by ancient traditions. You can create all kinds of ways of thinking. Be creative with it. Think like a child again and have fun exploring the realm of the mind and its intricacies. Thanks for watching.